Hello and welcome to the Voice of Todd. I'm Tom, and with this video we're going to take a look at The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's more going to be my feelings and thoughts as we've hit episode 4 now. We've had a good run at this. We have a good idea of what's going on and the kind of story that they're trying to tell. So I thought that we'd just talk about it really. As you may know, if you've seen my WandaVision reviews or even my episode 1 review for this show, I wasn't that hot on the series. The trailers didn't do anything for me. But episode 1 really did impress me. So I wanted to do, this is really a mid-season roundup, although we're just over the mid-season. Who's counting? I didn't do it last week because I didn't really rate last week's episode and I just wanted to let it settle. As the week went on, we got to a new episode today, so I thought we'd include this too. Now there will be spoilers dotted around in this, but it's more of an overall chat and an initial sort of reaction to my take so far and what I think we're going to get for the final 2 episodes. You may know I did one of these for episode 1, and I still think that was the strongest of the 4 that we've seen. The deeper that we get into this show, it's more clear to me that this is actually a continuation of Captain America's story. But as Chris Evans isn't actually playing Cap anymore, they're trying to get around it with everyone else who was in his films. Recently I have rewatched Captain America First Avenger and the original Avengers Assemble. And there's a lot of things in the first Avenger that tied into episode 3. So this weekend hopefully I'm going to get into Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, hopefully squeeze in Civil War as well, because we're getting a lot of Civil War references now, last week and this week. So a lot of that is maybe helping to keep me interested, but clearly this is a story about the legacy of Captain America and the Shield, and how good of a man Steve Rogers was, and how much of a symbol that Shield is, and that nobody will replace him as the original and true Captain America. Now, the angle that the show seems to be taking is that Sam doesn't feel he can live up to the mantle that Cap gave him. Bucky is clearly at odds with that decision from Sam, but he doesn't want to live in a world where, Steve was wrong, because that means that Steve was wrong about him, and Bucky's a real mess in this, which makes a lot of sense. We also have a new Cap. They're calling him Captain America. I think he's actually a US agent in the comics, but John Walker, who's the government-proclaimed new Captain America, and he's really struggling to live in a world where he is in the shadow of Steve Rogers. Throw into the mix a story about the little people who were affected by the events of Endgame and the return of half of the world. Something that was totally absent from WandaVision and Spider-Man Far From Home. And then the emergence of the Super Soldier Serum, again remade, and you theoretically have a solid basis for a movie, and that's my first problem. It feels to me this would have been a great movie, but it's just a watered down average series, limited series, 6 episodes. Now I do withhold the right to change my mind if the next 2 episodes, the final 2, are amazing and just completely work and turn everything on its head. But so far, it's struggling for me. I do love Anthony Mackie in the role as Sam Wilson, and it's great to see him here, and he's got a real meaty role in this. I've been very critical of him in things like Altered Carbon Season 2 and some of his film choices outside the MCU, but in this, he's the glue that holds everything together for me. I love the inclusion of his sister and his nephews and that wider family that he has. While on the outside, they're not really part of this. They do seem to be a big reason of why he's doing what he's doing, and I love seeing more of Sam. Sebastian Stan has also impressed me He has been a bit part in the movies, but I feel that we're really starting to see what he can do in a leading role. Now, he is sharing that with Mackie, but I think between them, they're doing well. I am really enjoying the tortured soul that Bucky is, and it does makes perfect sense. So from that, I think that they're doing well there, from my perspective. Erin Kellyman, who is playing one of our main antagonists really in Karli Morgenthau, I think overall she's been good, but in episode 4 I really enjoyed what we've seen. She's given a little bit more free rein to actually do some acting, and the story of the Flag Smashers and their fight and their values and core beliefs, you can kind of see where they're coming from. It does make sense, and I'm glad that the show is being able to flesh out their motives. And honestly, in episode 4, the new one, she just stole the show for me. I really hope the next 2 episodes give us a solid resolution to her arc, because at this point I think she deserves it. Someone else I wanted to touch on is Wyatt Russell. He's playing John Walker, the new Captain America. And this is the first reference I have for the character, but I like the chaos that he's bringing to the role. Didn't much care for him in episode 2 or 3, I didn't much care for 3 on the whole really. But this week, it's really starting to ramp up. We're seeing the true nature of the beast. And all I'll say is wow. The final shot, oh boy. But again, I hope they actually go somewhere with this, because this is the point in the season, just past the midway, that WandaVision started to fall apart. And I get a feeling this might head that way too. Should probably touch on Baron Zemo too. Now, I like Daniel Bruhl a lot. I think pretty much everything I've seen him in, he's been excellent. We won't talk about Cloverfield though. But I really don't like him in this. I really don't. And again, my only reference point for Zemo is Civil War, and I do like him in Civil War. I think he's an interesting villain. But this doesn't work for me in this show for some reason. I get why they're using him and the Dora Milaje. It's that link back to Civil War and then leading into the Infinity War saga. Same with Bucky and the flashbacks. The counselling, it all ties back into the Cap movies, which is what they're trying to do. They're saying, remember Captain America. But it feels to me like they're using it as a crutch. They're trying... Well, they're basically just turning this series into the legacy of Captain America. But by doing that and not having Cap present, or probably able to ever come back following his choice at the end of Endgame, it just feels off. But then Cap is one of my favourite Marvel characters, so I probably would feel like he's missing from something like this. Again, that's subjective. I will say that while episode 4 is better, there are some glaring issues. A couple that stood out to me, and again we're not going into super detail, but the build up to and the final action sequence didn't really work for me. Like the action in 3, it just feels a little off. The fight sequence itself, the choreography is really good. But at one point we have Sam and Bucky in civilian wear like they have been for almost the last 2 episodes. Then they suddenly turn a corner and they're in full Avengers gear. Really jarring. Doesn't make sense. It's like the same with Baron Zemo in episode 3, where he's standing on the crate and then he pulls on the mask and all of a sudden he's kicking everybody's ass. It's clearly because you put the mask on, the stunt actor takes over, but it's little things like this that are just making it feel clunky. And again, they're probably minor to most people, but they're obvious to me and it pulls me out. Now overall, I've enjoyed most of what I've seen, but I really liked episode 1 and the much more personal approach, and then the team up buddy cop thing never interested me, and that's exactly where it's gone. with a lot of other guys thrown in, and a third wheel of Baron Zemo. It just doesn't add anything for me. What the last 3 episodes have given us is what the trailers showed. I'm not really interested. I will say that the humour and the quippy lines between Sam and Bucky has been toned down, and I do appreciate that, and overall it's doing enough to keep me entertained. I have watched far worse shows, and the production values are clear to see. They're not really skimping out, I don't think. This isn't a big blockbuster film, but they're treating it like that way. So I can, from an artistic standpoint, I can appreciate that and enjoy most of what they're doing. But I'm going into the final 2 episodes hoping that this will actually be a satisfying conclusion and a strong springboard for whatever is next for Sam and Bucky. But in the back of my mind, I don't think it's going to be that rewarding. Luckily, the latest Loki trailer, which dropped about a week ago, was excellent, and the long-awaited Black Widow movie is around the corner too. I am looking forward to seeing Black Widow. Again, another character that I love in the MCU, with an actress that I love full stop, so what's not to like there? Now, I do plan to do a proper series review once we have all of the episodes, and I can watch them in a block, and maybe do a little bit more of a deeper dive with spoilers and things. We'll see, so keep an eye peeled in the coming weeks for that. We do also have our Firefly reviews continuing every Wednesday. This week will be episode 10, War Stories, and I'll be live on Twitch. We're starting Mass Effect 3 today. This is only my 2nd ever full playthrough. I just got really burned out by that ending. I never wanted to go back, so I'm treating this as it's almost like a new game because there's so much that I don't remember. And probably over the weekend we'll get to some Outriders as well, because I'm itching to play some more of that. So keep an eye on Twitter if you want to join. I'd love to see you there. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.